Hey, BookTube Sean here. Wanted to do today's video on what I have read since the last time I talked to you. I know I did a Friday Reads video, and I think I had read maybe, okay, the kittens really want in. But I think I had only finished Isolation by Michelle Garza and Melissa Layson in that one, and I was reading some other things which kind of got abandoned. But I have got 4 books to talk to you about, and so let's get into it. First thing I finished was on audio. I finished The Other Americans by Layla Lalami. I was kind of hoping that that would win the National Book Award because it was the one off the shortlist that I got around to reading. But it didn't. Trust Exercise by Susan Choi won, which I have, and you'll see in my next book haul. But yeah, Other Americans by Layla Lalami, about, I can't think of the character's name now. I should have looked this stuff up before I started filming, but the patriarch of a family is killed in a hit-and-run accident. He is physically hit by a car and left to die on the pavement. And let me see if I can. I didn't think I was filming this, and then I got done filming another video and went, yeah, I'll just film one more while I'm at it, while I'm in the mood to talk. Okay, Nora is the character's name. Nora's father is killed in a hit-and-run accident. That's not a spoiler. That's first page. And she goes home to deal with that and try to figure out what happened and who was driving the car that killed her father. And we follow the different perspectives of Nora, her father, a witness, her mother, and an old high school friend of hers. So every chapter is told from a different character's perspective, but always advances the story along. And I just thought this book was just fantastic. I did only give it 4 out of 5 stars because there was some things that were brought up when we were from the investigating officer's perspective, some things that were talked about from her perspective that I never really went anywhere, and I didn't see really the need for them. But other than that, the audiobook was fantastic. I hesitate to call it a full cast audiobook, but although it technically is, because when you're in the chapter of Nora, one voice actor does it, and then when you're in the chapter of there's a different narrator for each of the chapters when they're in that character's voice. The reason I hesitate to call it full cast is when, say, her friend, I'm looking for the character's name and it's not being shown in the description, Jeremy. Say we're in Jeremy's perspective, her old high school friend, and he talks about what Nora says. The actor who does Nora, or the narrator who does Nora, does not speak in that voice. That person who's doing Jeremy speaks in Nora, does the voice change and speaks in Nora's voice. That's why I hesitate to call it full cast from an actor's perspective. But it technically is a full cast audiobook. But yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I highly recommend The Other Americans by Layla Lalami. I lost my page of what I read. Here it is. Okay, I also read the graphic novel When I Arrived at the Castle by Emily Carroll. You'll see the picture of the thing up there. We'll give you an idea of some of the artwork. I'm still not even sure what I read. It was good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed her artwork, but I'm still not even sure what I read. It's short, and this human cat character shows up at this castle to kill a vampire, what seems like a vampire, but maybe more demon than vampire. I enjoyed it, but I'm still not sure what I read. I also, on audio, I finished Collected Schizophrenias, and that is too small for me to read the author. Esme Wenjun Wang. I probably butchered that. This is an essay collection. It's called, it says essays. It's an essay in kind of memoir style, I would say, because she's talking about schizophrenia, but she's talking about it a lot from her own experience. She suffers from psychosis and schizophrenia, and it talks about, there's an essay about how, you know, she Lyme disease can play a part, and but it's all based around her dealing with it and what she has learned about it through her own experiences. So while they are essays, it's very memoirish too. It's kind of her story as well. And I learned a lot. I really learned a lot. I thought it was a great essay collection. I knew about as much about schizophrenia as I think most average Joes and Jills know, and I have a cousin who has been dealing with schizophrenia. I'm not close to him. I'm not close to most of my family other than my parents, but I do hear about it occasionally because my parents are still close with that uncle, whose son is the one dealing with it. So I did learn a lot that I didn't know, and I was thankful to learn it because I can possibly impart some knowledge to at least my parents and my dad, who sees him a lot. I doubt I could get my uncle to read that. My uncle's almost 80 years old. I doubt he's going to read this, but he should, because he might be able to understand and help his son a bit more. But yeah, definitely, if it sounds like something that would interest you, definitely check it out. It's really good. I'm curious. It's nominated for the Women's Prize, not the Women's Prize, the Reading Women prize in nonfiction. By the time this video comes out, we'll know if it won or not. As I'm filming this, the winners are announced tomorrow. So I'll be interested to see if it wins too. So that's the Collected Schizophrenias by Esme Weijun Wang. Can you tell I've lost my ability from not filming about books a ton to actually talk about books? So that's why I need to get back to filming and talking about books and reading and talking about books so that I can actually describe these things that I've read better again. I probably did a crap job on the other Americans. Jacqueline Woodson's Red at the Bone. That is the last thing I read. I have a review on my Instagram. I haven't copied and pasted it into Goodreads yet. But I absolutely loved this book. I have heard it is nominated for the Reading Women Award in fiction. We'll know as you're watching this if it won or not. My kind of prediction for that award is Red at the Bone or Women Talking by Miriam Taves, which I'm currently reading. I don't think I'm going to get the full short list read by the end of the year like I was thinking of, because there's other things I want to read too. But I love this. It's about 194 pages, so it's just under 200 pages. It reads really quick. If you do the audiobook, I didn't do the audiobook, but if you do the audiobook, it's about 3.5 hour audiobook. We start on, I'm horrible at remembering character names. I'm fine when I'm reading them. I remember who they are, but unless I pre-prepare, in which I didn't for this video because I didn't even think I was going to film it. Melody. We start on Melody's 16th birthday and her 16th birthday party. And then we go back in time through most of the chapters from a different character, member of her family's perspective. Her father, her mother, her grandmother, and just the events in all their lives that led to this day. It's not a very plot-heavy book. It's very character-centric, which I love. I really love good character work, and this has got it in troves. It was just... I don't even remember how I said on my Instagram about it, but check out my Instagram at eclectic_reads. You can read my little review I wrote there, because I'm not remembering my wording right now. But I just absolutely adored this book. Kendra at Winchester has raved about it. Russell at Ink and Paper Blog has raved about it, and I get why. I am definitely on the Jacqueline Woodson train. I highly recommend checking out Red at the Bone by Jacqueline Woodson. And that is what I have read. I've had some other things in progress. I think I talked about in a video that I was doing a group read of Stephen King's new book. I kind of fell off of that for two reasons. One, everybody got so far ahead of me, and I couldn't even listen to the Voxer chats because everybody was so far ahead of me, because they were all enjoying it, so I don't blame anybody. They were all enjoying it so much during a few days that I did not, even if I was reading back the way I used to, I didn't have the time. I had a wedding to go to that weekend, and it was just an absolutely packed to the second weekend. Barely had time to even remember my name that weekend. And so because everybody else was enjoying it so much, they just blasted ahead of me. And that knocked me off a little bit because I never feel like I never like feeling like I'm playing catch up. And two, I also started reading The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead, which I was really enjoying and I really want to get back to because it's really good. But that I ended up reading two books at the same time. And while this is not a trigger for me, I don't know that I really have triggers. Reading two books at the same time that are the two primary things you're reading, and both of them are just brutal to kids. So trigger warnings on both of those books if harm to children and violence towards children sets you off. You might want to stay away from those books because they are both just brutal to kids in the part. Like I was up to around 90 pages into Nickel Boys and over 200 pages into The Institute. And like I said, while it's not a trigger for me, it's a lot when it's the primary thing in both books you're reading. So my brain just kind of said, no, I want to be happy for a bit. So I ended up just falling off both books. And I want to get back to both of them because I was really enjoying both of them. I just got to do them at separate times. But I have some things I'm reading now. I'm reading Women Talking by Miriam Taves. I started The Wrong Stars by Tim, I want to say Pratt, but I don't know if that's right. Rachel at the Shades of Orange just did a full series review of his series, of his trilogy. Yeah, Tim Pratt. The Wrong Stars by Tim Pratt. And it's his first book in his Axiom Trilogy, a science fiction book. And so far I'm really enjoying that. I picked up one of the books that is in the finals for SPFBO. I'm just looking up the title really quick because I was Beggar's Rebellion by Levi Jacobs. I started reading that because that's going to be one of my sneak peek into my goals for 2020 is I want to read more self-published fantasy. I think there's, and is being proven by the self-published fantasy blog off that Kitty G helps judge. There's some great fantasy out there that doesn't always get the recognition it deserves because people tend to have a stigma on self-published books, that they're not as good or as viable as traditionally published books. And the authors suffer a little bit commercially by going the self-published route. And so I want to get into more self-published fantasy in the new year, and I thought I'd start with trying to read some of the titles that are finalists for the SPFBO. Next year's SPFBO. All 10 finalists are now announced. The 10th finalist just got announced the other day. And I have access to all 10 right now. So I just picked Beggar's Rebellion because it was the first one announced. I was going to pick Kitty G's pick because she absolutely raved about it. I can't think of what the title of it was right now, but I'll try and link her video where she announced her finalists below. But I decided just to start with this one because it was the first one announced. The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang was Kitty G's pick. No other reason than that. It was the first one announced, so that's the one I started with. I doubt I'll get all 10 read before the winners are announced, but I'm just using it as kind of a starting guide for delving into self-published fantasy. But that's it. I've rambled on long enough on this and horribly described the books that I read. I will get back into the swing of things and get back to being at least halfway decent at this. But anyway, thank you to all my subscribers. I appreciate every single one of you. If this is your first time watching one of my videos and you made it to the end, thank you. If you want to see more from me, hit the subscribe button so you're sure to know when I post new videos, and I will see you all in the next one.